Just 3 days ago, the Blades were in action at Bramall Lane against Coventry City, and tonight they travel to Bloomfield Road against Blackpool as the festive schedule really hits full speed. Blades currently sitting second in the table, 8 points clear of Blackburn Rovers in third. Can they keep the results rolling in with a win again tonight? In tonight's show, we'll be building up to kick-off, which comes at 8:15, hearing the reaction to that Boxing Day win from goal scorers Kieran Clark and Tommy Doyle. We'll be running the rule over a struggling Blackpool side, and we have previews from Max Lowe and Stuart McCall. Kick-off is just under 45 minutes away, and for all the match pass information and broadcasting regulations for today's game, go to the website sufc.co.uk. But before we start concentrating on tonight's match, some very sad news reaching us from Brazil, the death of one of the true legends of the sport, Pele, at the age of 82. Pictured here on a visit to Bramall Lane, truly one of the very greatest, if not the greatest, of all time. Well, hello again, and welcome to our studio here at Bramall Lane, where we set the scene and look forward to a potentially tricky match away to Blackpool up at Bloomfield Road. And joining me to set the scene and run the rule over the two teams and the build-up over the next few minutes, it's good evening to Mark Duffy, who was very much, of course, a part of Sheffield United through two promotions from the First Division and into the Premier League. Great to see you here, now playing for Macclesfield.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'm told, now working as player manager.
Yeah, so a new role, so just taking it every week as it comes, really, so really enjoying it though. Well,
good luck with that one, and lovely to welcome back as well Brian Dean. And nice to be able to look at Boxing Day and indeed look at that table thereafter and see just how well United are sitting right now.
Yeah, I mean it's great reading if you're a Sheffield United fan. Nice little buffer down to third place, and to be fair, we see the two teams at the top. They're the two teams for me who have shown that consistency, and also they look as though they've got the best quality in the whole of the division.
I know we always hear the old cliches, don't we, Mark? It's sort of take each game as it comes, and we're not going to take anything for granted, etc., etc. But when you look at that table, I mean, United fans are right to have terrific optimism about the rest of the season.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, you know, you're getting into the back end, well, second half of the season now, so the teams who they're playing up against, they'll have known that have played against them. Obviously, they had a great game against Blackpool, you know, a while ago now, so they'll be looking forward to it. The main thing for me is, you know, that every time they go out there, they score 2 or 3 goals, so they look a real threat.
Now, you've experienced promotion a couple of times, as I said. I mean, how buoyant is the whole squad going to be right now as they go into key spells?
Yeah, you just sort of, the momentum takes you into the next game, and you know, all those knocks and little niggles, they sort of go away, and you feel great going into every game, and you look forward to it.
Reaching the stage where you're not sort of hoping, you're almost expecting that they're going to be getting results. It's win after win coming now, and they're on a great run.
Yeah, it is, and as we've just touched on it, we've alluded to the fact that, you know, the niggles go away, and you know, everybody wants to be out there. For me, the second half of the season is going to be about how the players manage themselves, you know, so how they keep that focus at the top level, you know, because it's good having the best squad and being able to go out there and win every game, but it's the mental side of the game that's going to become more important in the second half of the season for me.
And the role of the manager and his coaching staff so crucial.
Absolutely. You know, it almost becomes a bit of a kind of, you know, handing a little bit of responsibility over to the players, I feel, and letting them grow as the season goes on.
Yeah, well, definitely. Let's take a look at the players that we've got playing tonight, and we can bring you the team news. This is the United lineup, and 3 changes, I think I'm right in saying there, Brian. Stevens for Lowe, Bogle for Baldock, and with Johnny Egan suspended, Robinson coming in.
Yeah, but you know, this is one thing that we've talked about all season. You know, the squad itself has been really strong. There's real competition for all the places, and if you're a manager with that squad, you kind of it then becomes a case of okay, making sure that you make the right decisions when you're playing players, giving them an opportunity to actually get some kind of form. But then also managing the players' expectations as well, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. You've got to sort of reward some players for the stuff that they do on the training ground as well, because it's not just about the 11, it's about the 16, 18 players, and the support act, sort of what people are called, are so important, especially in a title challenge, because you need them every day in training at it, and then when they come in, they need to do the business, and you want them to do the business because they're so important in any team.
I think that's something that, I mean, in my brief tenure, I always used to say to the whole group, I used to say that the squad is the team. Yeah. It's not the team. You know, it's the whole squad is part of it, and that extends to even people like the kit man and the dinner ladies and the groundsmen. You know, those are all people that are very important, and I feel that, you know, looking at the side and the squad that they've got, you know, these things are going to become very important as the season goes on.
Well, we've seen the names playing tonight, and this is the formation that we expect them to be playing to. Talk us through this one, Brian.
Well, it's more or less as you were, really. You know, we've got the kind of the three centre backs, which has been real solid for the last 18 months, 2 years under Hecky. Good rotation, I think, in midfield. That's been very important. You know, it's not like there's been two players with the same abilities. Everybody complements each other, and you know, we've got, you know, Illiman, who at the moment is Mr. Magic, and you've got Billy, who, you know, is as good as anybody in that 18-yard box this time of in the division, really, isn't it? And then, you know, good athletes in wide positions.
We've been turning in some purple patches in recent games, and it's been great to watch. You know, when they really do click, brilliant.
No, definitely, and obviously with the quality that we have, you know, we do expect a lot from them, because obviously with Illiman, like he's just touched on there, for me, he's probably the best player in the division. You know, when he turns it on, whether it's for 10 minutes or it's for the full game, he just lights up any stadium. So he's certainly a player that, you know, we're very, very lucky to be seeing week in, week out. And then obviously with Billy, he just scores goals, doesn't he? So you get everything is on the tin.
Well, terrific match, of course, on Boxing Day against Coventry City. Looked like a difficult one on paper. It turned out to be an absolute cracker.
And run away on Boxing Day. Palmer's delivery, fisted away by Fodringham. And Jai, this is what he likes to do, get the ball in front of him and run. Taking on Ben Sheaf, he's away from Sheaf. Plays a lovely ball out wide, chance here for United. And finished neatly by James McAtee. Swift counter by the Blades. Brilliant again from Illiman and Jai. Finished by McAtee for his second of the campaign, and Sheffield United lead Coventry by 1-0. Palmer might come for Bidwell, who goes down, and that is a penalty right at the start of the second half to Coventry City. Deep breath from the Swede, steps forward, saved by West Fodringham. Wasn't the greatest of penalties, but Fodringham, let's not take anything away from the Blade stopper once again. Palmer had a chuck from the back. So is Egan and Clark, and it goes from Nord. Really good ball in and buried. Looks like Kieran Clark has got the goal. He's first for Sheffield United. Wonderful cross again, and Kieran Clark, well, he couldn't miss, could he? And United have doubled their advantage. Jefferson makes a break into the penalty area. It goes wide for Baldock. Berger again. On the outside of Kelly, Berger's cross, wonderful ball in, just needed a touch. Retrieve for Doyle! Fine finish from Doyle, he's first for Sheffield United. The attack, well, it might have broken down, but United stayed alert, kept it alive, and Doyle rifles it in. 3-0 Blades. It is Harmer, again it's dangerous, just needed a touch, and they got one back here, Coventry City. Gyökeres, I think, is claiming that one. He got his head to the ball. And a glimmer of hope here for the visitors. Another terrific cross. And Coventry have given themselves half a chance.
Yeah, it made good watching, didn't it? And afterwards, and obviously delighted, Tommy Doyle was well pleased with his first goal for the Blades.
Yeah, I think it's took me a little bit longer than I'd have liked. I've had a few little chances, a few good saves from keepers, but nah, buzzing for it to finally go in.
Talk us through the goal right in front of the Cop. You had to show some quick reactions there.
Yeah, I was just in the box and I seen obviously ball got flashed across, and then I've seen Lowe there, so had a yard on a few of the defenders, so I just opened up my body and thankfully it went in.
Good to be in the goals, obviously, but also good to be back in the side again after that little spell out injury.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously really frustrating for me. I felt like I was playing well and playing regularly, and obviously I think injuries can be part of the game, but it feels good to be back, and especially amongst the goals.
Big 3 points this afternoon. That's a really good side. What your reflection on the game as a whole?
I think the lads did brilliant. I think we played when we needed to, we battled when we needed to, and near the end when it got a little bit tough, obviously with the unfortunate red card, we stuck together, which is obviously a great sign, and seen the game out.
Yeah, they're a really good side. They're on a great run themselves, so you had to show both sides of your game this afternoon, didn't you, as a team?
Yeah, I think, to be fair, I think we've done that quite a lot this season. We've played good football, but also we've been able to fight and do what we needed to do to win the game, and I think that was a show what we put on today. We obviously the first half was very good, and second half, it got a little bit cagey near the end, but we were pretty comfortable in the end.
That was Tommy Doyle talking really well after that victory and that first goal for Sheffield United. And Kieran Clark as well joined us here in the studio, in the SUTV studio, and spoke to Richard Graves, and he too was delighted with the win against an informed Coventry team.
We knew it was going to be a tough game coming into it, because they're a really good side, but I think we showed our quality. It was tough at times, but yeah, we showed our quality, and yeah, we're happy to come away with the 3 points.
Obviously, first and foremost, your job is to defend and keep the clean sheets and ensure it's tight at the back. How satisfying, though, is it to get your first goal for the club?
Yeah, I was buzzing. Yeah, buzzing to get that first goal. I've had a couple of chances that I've missed in the last few games, but I was always in there, and we know how good the delivery is from the lads. So we've always got to expect it, and thankfully it went in. Throughout
the game, they made life difficult. How satisfying is it in that dressing room now to have got the 3 points? Yeah,
we know how big that is. Like you said, they've been on good form, and they've really picked up. And we spoke about how tough it was going to be, and we knew that. And yeah, like I said, to get the 3 points was massive for us. And there was a big point in the game. I think Wes saved the penalty, and yeah, we picked up from there. And that could have changed the game if that had gone in. So yeah, like I said, we stuck to it, and we knew it was going to be a tough game, and it was, but we came through it.
There were 2 big points, really, because Wes, obviously, penalty save is brilliant. It keeps you 1 up. And then towards the end of the game, when everyone felt, job's done here, you're 3-1 up, John Egan gets a second yellow card, and you have to go again.
Yeah, we were trying to play on the front foot and defend on the front foot, and then when you go a man down, and it kind of changes, especially that late on as well. It was about trying to sit in and try and deny the space, really, and try and just stop them from scoring. And yeah, obviously they got one, but we managed to hold them out, and Wes made some great saves. And yeah, like I said, we take the 3 points, and we'll look forward to the next game now.
Well, it certainly put a smile on my face watching that one on Boxing Day, and I think that the crowd here at Bramall Lane absolutely loved it as well. Mark Duffy and Brian Dean watching this reaction, and a very happy Eki leaving the pitch. What's your reaction to that performance, both of you?
No, it's a fantastic performance. Obviously, Coventry are a really good team. Mark Robbins is a very good manager as well, so they would have been coming here, hoping for some points. But for us, it just, it shows the standards that we have reached, and it's good that we're getting goals from other areas as well, and we're not just relying on the strikers.
Good one to get that goal straight after the penalty save as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And again, I think if you look at the kind of goals that were scored in that game, it kind of highlights the versatility of the squad, where the goals are coming from. But just the all-round play. The first goal was just, for me, it's top tier. You know, that was a brilliant sweeping move.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love seeing football like that, mate.
Yeah, it was easy on the eye, wasn't it? And Tommy Doyle's goal, and then the goal for Kieran Clark as well. You know, I mean, lovely to see those names on the score sheet.
Yeah, you like to see your centre half, you know, in the opposition box causing a bit of chaos, you know, and you know, definitely it's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's important that you get goals from other areas and you don't just rely on the strikers, because obviously sometimes strikers have off days and you need, you know, midfielders and centre half chipping in with goals. So, you know, see them scoring goals, the first goals is you know, a brilliant thing to see, really.
And just a word about Wes as well, pulling in that absolutely crucial save, because I mean, if that penalty had gone in, who knows, could have been a different story.
Definitely, because those things, the momentum of the game swing, and you know, Wes is a real good penalty saver. I've seen him stop a few here now, so when people are stepping up against him, sometimes obviously you will have took penalties against someone who's renowned to be a good penalty saver. Sometimes it can make you second guess where you're actually going to put it.
Brian, James McAtee, he's really growing into his role here, isn't he?
Yeah, well, I think when he came, we all kind of looked at how diminutive he is, and we thought, look, you know, it might take him a little bit of time to really adjust to the, you know, to the physicality of the league, the pace, everything. I think we're seeing that now. You know, you do sometimes see this happen where young players come into a side, and you know, this is a great side for him to develop in as a youngster. But then he'll go away from this, and you know, he knows he's played in a top team, so it doesn't surprise me. And by the end of the season, you know, his whole ambition's probably going to have raised, you know, another level, knowing that he can do it at this level.
And he was one of the lads who was on the score sheet when they played Blackpool down here at the Lane in that sort of chaotic match earlier in the season, finished 3-3.
Yeah, definitely. Chaotic game, you know, just talking about him, definitely everything what Brian talked about there. I think he struggled at the start with the physicality and probably the speed of the championship, and it's taken him a bit of time to get really up to speed, but I think now you are seeing the best of him, because obviously he has the quality. You know, you don't play for Manchester City without that quality. He's got the pedigree. It's just the speed and the physicality of the championship, and it will hold him in great stead going forward.
And you know, watching him and Doyle as well, they seem to be so much buying into the wonderful team spirit that there is down here.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can't. I mean, we both played here, and it just seems to generate a really good atmosphere. You know, every time I've been down here, you know, it's a great. The fans are brilliant. You know, they're fair, let's be honest. You know, they're not going to give you an easy ride if you don't deserve it, but at the end of the day, it's a wonderful place to come. And I think the balance between Hecky, Stuart McCall and Jack Lester helps. You know, they're all kind of in a different era, and they just seem to have a really good, you know, connection between them. You know, so.
I think all the success over the years has been with people who have brought the fans in and connected with them, and they connect with the team, and the team get the crowd going, especially you know, when the players go out and they put a performance in and they get the crowd involved. There's probably no better place to play.
Do you know what? And I was just flickering through my mind then. When you feel as though the crowd don't take to somebody, I'm talking about a manager, it's always been a struggle for the team. You know, but if they feel as though they've got somebody who understands them, that's when you see everybody getting behind.
It's kind of the one of us situation, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Now, look, it's time that we absolutely looked at that league table once again. Let's revel in this. That makes mighty nice reading when you take a look at that, doesn't it? And I can tell you that Queen's Park Rangers, who are playing Luton Town tonight, are 3-0 down. That's a good result for Sheffield United if it stays that way.
Yeah, I mean, they've had a bit of chaos in their recent history, haven't they? Queen's Park Rangers, you know, the manager's left, and that must be quite upsetting. You know, Norwich, they've just sacked their manager. So and there are teams up there that you wouldn't expect. You know, Millwall are up there as well. So, you know, it doesn't really matter to us. It's, you know, there's going to be, it's like throwing a dice up in the air at the moment, but the top two, if they carry on, they'll be out of sight in the next 10 games.
Well, this is our recent form coming into this one tonight, and you see 4 straight victories. It's about time we got that Rotherham United setback, that surprise 1-0 defeat out of the graphic, isn't it? A nice win tonight, and that one disappears for good. Right, well, let's take a look at our matches coming up. We've got Queen's Park Rangers on the 2nd of January, an away match. That's an 8 o'clock kickoff. We'll be on air from 7 o'clock. Millwall, FA Cup, 3 o'clock kickoff. And so we'll be on air prior to that one on the 7th of January. And Stoke City, big one here at the Lane, 14th of January, 3 o'clock kickoff. We'll be on air from 2 o'clock. Now, in October, the Blades hosted Blackpool right here in what turned out to be a real end-to-end thriller. As we said a few moments ago, it wound up being 3-3 after Norwood's incredible last gasp equaliser.
On ball forward, immediately looking for the former Sheffield United striker Gary Medine. Here's Sharp now for United, cuts it across, the flag's raised though. Over the cross, Sharp, pushing down, chance, and it's in. James McAtee. A first goal for Sheffield United for the Manchester City youngster. Sharp with the assist, and McAtee forces it into the net. United lead early doors here at Bramall Lane. Forward again, still going here. Keeper got a hand to it, it's loose and it's put away by Iliman Ndiaye. The Blades have doubled their lead in Ndiaye's 6th of the season. And United in a promising position early doors here at Bramall Lane. 8 last season. Quickly taken corner kick. Sharp got something on it, might come to Connolly. Shot from Dougal, there's the header from Yates, and they pulled one back. Jerry Yates on target once again. 3rd goal in his last 2 games. Connolly on to Lavery, away from his man. In goes the cross, Yates on his own. Wonderful finish from Jerry Yates. It's another brace for the Blackpool striker. 2nd in as many games. Took it first time, and Blackpool back from 2-0 behind. They're level at 2 apiece. Great first touch by Patino. Oh, inadvertently it falls to Dougal, and Blackpool have come from 2-0 down to lead by 3 goals to 2. And Kenny Dougal back in the side after a 1-match ban sends the away supporters into delirium. Here comes the corner, punched away by the keeper. Shot comes in from Norwood! Blades back on level terms. Ollie Norwood's 2nd of the season. Incredible scenes at Bramall Lane. It's 3 apiece.
Well, what an incredible, chaotic sort of match that was. United getting that late equaliser, making it 3-3. And Norwood's technique in keeping that one down, getting it on target and getting that all-important equaliser, albeit against 9 men. That's an important moment in the season.
Yeah, definitely. I think they would have looked back at that game, you know, they would have been disappointed to lose the 2 goals, but then at the end of the game they would have been made up to, you know, actually get a point. But obviously Norwood's technique is never in question, especially from myself. You know, I played with him, and I've seen that many times on the training ground. You know, he's probably one of the most gifted technical players that's probably ever played here.
I'm sure that Hecky and the rest of the team, particularly the coaching staff alongside him as well, would settle for something a little bit more straightforward this evening.
Yeah, I think you know, you definitely would like to have something where you can just say, okay, it's a simple game. It's not good on the old
ticker.
Definitely not.
I've been in the dugout, you know, and like when things going on like that, you can actually feel your blood pressure going, your heart beating. It's horrible. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, tonight, is it all going to be different? This is the Sheffield United lineup. Let me just remind you how they are there. 3 changes from the team against Coventry City. Stevens for Lowe, Bogle for Baldock, Robinson for Egan. And we can take a look as well at the way in which they expect them to play. The formation, Brian, and It's kind of what we expect.
Yeah, I mean, you know, let's be honest. You know, the players in the squad are all set up to thrive in this formation. You know, we've got the right players in the wide areas to provide the width. You know, the front two are pretty settled. You know, in the squad itself, you've got players who can come in and make a good two anyway. You know, if you need an extra man in midfield, Njai probably drop down a little bit. But all in all, the middle three are as good as anybody in the division. And I think that's the thing, really. We have a variety of types of player who really can contribute and make sure that they dominate that part of the pitch.
I love the wow factor that Illiman brings, Mark. You know, I mean, you watch Sheffield United now, and he's one of those players, and Jai, you sort of think at some moment there's going to be something extraordinary. Yeah,
definitely, and you know, people will be looking at him, you know, going into games, knowing that he is capable of absolute magic. You know, we've seen him one of the assists there, what he done. Just, you know, he's glided past two players, but then to execute the weight of pass to perfection as well is unbelievable at the pace that he does it. And you see that now on a more regular basis. Last year, you seen it in little flashes, and then he's took it on to the next level now, where he's doing it virtually every single game. So his game is only going from strength to strength.
Now, so far as Blackpool are concerned tonight, they're not exactly on a rich run of form. This is their lineup. And one change there, Thompson in for Garbett, who that is at left back. And their recent form hasn't been too bright either, Brian. They 3 straight draws running into this one. And I guess from their point of view, they're pretty desperate for a win.
Yeah, I think the thing is, though, when you've got a team like Blackpool, though, this division is always going to be a tough division for them. So they're going to be scrapping most of the season. And I think that, you know, the players who they'll have in there will reflect that to a degree. You know, you've got Gary Medine up front, who's you know, he was down here. He scores goals. He's got good all-round play. Jake Beasley, who's Paul Beasley's son, is in the squad, which is an interesting one for me because I remember when Bees made his when he did get transferred, I had this mad scouser on the phone, you know, with a lump in his throat, so it was doubly difficult trying to understand what he was saying. But he's so no, but he, you know, so it's a kind of club where you're going to get you know, you're going to get players coming through. If they do well, they're going to get snapped up and move on pretty quickly.
Let's just highlight some of the people who we are going to be watching out for in that Blackpool lineup. Centre back Marvin Ekpiteta worked his way through non-league and good in the air. Yeah, Kenny Dougal, he scored here in the match against Blackpool earlier in the season.
Yeah, there's a few players who. I've played against a few of these players, and the one for me, obviously, I really like the look of Jerry Yates.
He got a couple.
He got 2 goals a year, but he's worked his way through the leagues. And I always find when you find those type of players, they have that little bit more hunger and desire. And when you play up against them, they have that little bit of edge.
Charlie Patino on loan from Arsenal, somebody with a lot of promise. We're watching out for him. And Gary Medine, you've already mentioned, proven goal scorer.
You know, sometimes you don't get the rub of the green, and you know, like you've mentioned that their form's been indifferent, but you know, with the kind of players that we're talking about, you know, the Poveda, he was at Leeds as well. You know, this team can spring a surprise on anybody if you haven't got your wits about you.
It's no easy game, is the Championship.
No. And that's what we were alluding to earlier. You know, your mentality's always got to be at top level. You might have a better side and a better squad, but you can get let down pretty easily if you don't approach the game properly.
If you take your foot off the gas in the Championship, at any team that you're playing against, you'll get turned over.
Yeah. Well, we will see. We got a little bit of a picture earlier on. I don't know if we'll see it later on. Hopefully so. But there was the picture of Blackpool Tower rising up above one of the stands at Bloomfield Road, and it was illuminated with red and there it is. Look, there it is, red and white lights.
Yeah.
That's, I wonder if that's going to be a little bit of a portent of things to come. A Sheffield United night. Let's hope so. Well, we look ahead, as always, at this stage with the one of the players, and this time we caught up with Max Lowe a couple of days ago, and he discussed the tight turnaround of matches at this time of the season running into a fixture like this.
We all know this Christmas period's hectic, so it's next man up really. Whatever team the Gaffer picks, we believe we'll go out there and get 3 points, and that's the mentality we've got to have.
And the test against Blackpool, they're a side that are near the bottom but have shown signs in recent games that they're still very much a force in this league.
Yeah, they're fighting for something like all teams are in this league, so we know it's not going to be an easy game. We can't just turn up there and expect 3 points. We've got to do things right at the start of the game and implement our plan on them. So it's going to be a tough game, but we believe we can get the 3 points and hopefully we can get a run going.
At the halfway stage, we've just passed the halfway stage of the season. Things are looking really good, but it's important that the players in the dressing room realise that it is just halfway and there's still a lot of games to play.
Yeah, I mean, half the lads in the change room have had promotions already, so they're screaming, take it game by game, and that's all that we're doing. The Gaffer doesn't need to tell us because we know how long of a season this will be, and we're only halfway there, so we're not even at the finishing line yet, and we've got to keep maintaining that mentality and just take it game by game.
Max Lowe coming through his first game since September. Tell us what he adds. What does he contribute? It looks good going forward.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, the physicality that he brings to that position. He's a big, strong boy playing in that wing-back position. And obviously, the more games he plays, his fitness levels will improve as well. Yeah, I think just before his injury, he was picking up a real rich vein of form. So it was sad to see him get that injury, but it's great to see him back in the team.
Absolutely, and assists in his last 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a centre forward, but whenever I was out wide, I always used to try and put balls in the box that I wanted to feed on, and I'm just looking at some of his quality going into the box, and you can see that he takes great. His quality, he's always thinking about what kind of delivery he can put in.
Yeah, when he's going forward, I mean, he's a big, strong lad. He's something to cope with, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah. Well, moving on from there, we sort of look to what's coming up and what's going to be happening tonight. So important that the players build on what they've done. And you heard there Max talking about the difficulty of so many games coming in such a short period of time. I mean, how much of a problem can that be?
I think sort of, you know it's coming, don't you? You know those games are coming, so you prepare right for the games. It's about your recovery. It's about the food that you eat. It's, unfortunately you can't have too many beers or any beers.
Too many?
Too many. But, it's just about how you prepare, isn't it, for the games? But you know it's coming.
I've always, for me, it's always been, I've always thought that if you get a manager or if you get somebody who moans about the amount of games, then the players will take that on board. So I think you just kind of plough through it. I remember we played 2 games in 2 days when I was in the Premier League, and that was chaos. But you got through it because you thought, well, if I moan about it, it's not going to do me any good. Still got to play the game, and then you think about it afterwards when you can't walk.
Does adrenaline kind of weigh in?
Definitely,
because which carries you through?
you go onto the pitch and you might have little niggles and knocks and stuff, but it goes, and you don't want to give. I know this might sound horrible, but you don't want to give someone the opportunity to go into the team and take your position. So when people say, "Oh, how are you feeling?" I feel great. But you
even if you're falling apart,
even if your body's aching and stuff, but once you go out there, you soon fine, aren't you?
The amount of times you've kind of walked onto the pitch with niggles, and then as soon as the game starts, you don't feel anything. You don't.
It's crazy,
honestly,
isn't it? The adrenaline just pumps around your body, and all of a sudden you feel great.
How important are the words that you get, the words of advice that you'd be getting from Hecky and from Stuart McCall, Jack Lester? How important is that as a motivation? Does it come from within you? Is it just professionalism, or do those words really have an impact?
No, definitely, because obviously it is tough on your body. So if the manager allows you mentally to think, oh, I'm a little bit achy today, well then you could go onto the pitch and have that in your head. Whereas those words of, the mentality's got to be on it from the word go. I know you might be tired, but so are they. all those things, and you go out there and you make sure that you're on it. So it is important that the manager does give that message.
And that's where it's important for the manager, I guess, to know his players. It's touching the right notes to get the player inspired.
Yeah, I think that was one of the things that I've heard it from so many managers when I've been in games, and when it's in a tight amount of, you've got 2 or 3 games over sort of like 9 days or something like that. And the manager, when they say, if you think you're tired in here, just think what it's like for them. And it kind of lifts you, because you think, well, we're fitter than them. It puts you on a different plane. And there's a lot of psychology at this time of the year.
I think that's the difference in the top managers, is how they speak to the players and get the reaction at the right time from the players.
It's like
something that you're learning pretty quickly
because
at Macclesfield,
everyone knows tactics, and everyone can look at a tactics board and set teams up. It's more how you interact with the players, I believe.
Yeah, it's a siege mentality that you kind of, all the players kind of close in on the world, really, and we kind of get energy from each other, and this is us. Only us can make the difference here.
Mark, we're going to be sending you off to your commentary duties very soon, giving us the blow-by-blow of the match. What do you reckon before you go? We're going to have to put you on the spot. Is this another United win?
I'm going for United win, 3-1.
3-1?
Yeah, 3-1.
Well, that'll be good to see. Yeah. Very good to see. A bit of Illiman Njai gold.
Bit of Illiman magic.
Well, we will see. That's what Mark reckons. 3-1. And assistant manager Stuart McCall, when he spoke and looked forward to this match, he observed that Blackpool are a little bit of a changed team.
Yeah, but I think one thing they've got a good dressing room, they've got a good set of professionals who've had success in getting promotion a couple of seasons ago, and I think they've got a really good spirit, which they showed at Bramall Lane. When we went 2-0 up, they fought back, they caused us problems. The front three, Medine, Yates and Lavery, although they've got other players can play there, little Carey plays as a 10 behind. They're all good pros and are dangerous. There's no doubt about that. So they'll be disappointed where they are in the league. They're in the bottom 3. They'll want to get out of there as quickly as they can. Not 1 in 7, but they'll probably look at it since they've been back from after the World Cup. They're unbeaten in 3. So stats can be a bit misleading at times. But listen, regardless of who we're playing, we go everywhere we can to try to win the game. We're on a good run of form, especially away from home, and we want to keep that going.
And whilst the management and coaching personnel has changed, you'll still know a lot of the players from your time there.
Yeah, and as I said, there were a lot of good sorts in there, and it's one of them where the heads won't drop. They'll go to the final win it. They've got some good professionals in the dressing room. Good characters, and they'll fight for everything and scrap for everything. And the support they get at the home games has been, they get real behind them. But they've not won at home for a little while. So if we can, get the first goal and make it a little bit tenser for them, because it's always difficult. You might have a style of play you want to play, but once you drop into that bottom 3, it's like survival football at times. You've got to do what you can to get a result. So we're well aware of what the threats they pose. Say we've looked back at the game here, they cause threats on the counter, but we're in a good run. As much as we respect every opponent, we've got to think about us and what we can do to hurt them.
Stuart McCall there, Brian, is a bit of a picture of Dorian Gray sort of human being, isn't he? I think Oscar Wilde would have had something to say about him. 58 years old, he never seems to look any older.
Well, he never looked young, did he? Let's be honest, you know what I mean?
That's the secret of aging well, isn't it?
I know him anyway, so, but he's... but he looks, it's what we'd call consistent, let's say. But he's a great guy, he's Stuart, you know what I mean? Lovely bloke.
Is Stuart the hard nut in that dressing room? Is he the one who'd lay down the riot act?
You know what? I don't think you can have that kind of demographic anymore. I think that it's like with leadership, you have people taking it upon themselves at the right time, and I think that Stuart is quite a soft-spoken type of guy, but also when it needs to be said, I'm sure he says it and gives the manager a break from being the bad guy. You know what I mean?
Well, Bloomfield Road starting to fill up. Supporters taking their seats. You got any particular memories of that ground?
Hang on a second, let me think.
I've got a few memories of Blackpool.
I think, yeah, I'll tell you what, when I was at Doncaster, I just remember them, they were huge. And I was only 19, 20 at the time, and I remember it was at the time where you had all the players used to have the rolled up shorts, and you used to get all, you know, and I was a young man then, and I didn't know how big I was or anything like that, and it was just physically imposing, and that wind used to just...
It's always windy at Blackpool, isn't it? Always.
If there's one thing I used to hate playing, was when it was windy. I'm all right with rain, but wind, horrible.
Well, as you can see, the players ready to step out onto the pitch. So I think it's absolutely the right time to join our commentary team tonight. The voices of Mark Duffy, and first of all, as ever, Matt Young.
Thank you, John. The festive season continues. We'll trip to the seaside as Sheffield United look to maintain